But what is going on, everyone? This is the second live stream on this channel. So I'm going to wait for some people to come in. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the Hyatt, the World of Hyatt credit card. And this is one card I've had for probably about 6 years now. And it is my favorite card. It's always in my wallet. I'm always using this card, and I'm going to talk to you about the reasons why. I'm going to even show you some video footage of the Park Hyatt in Kauai. So I'll show you that. It was an upgrade. I had a really nice suite. So we'll talk about it. But right now, just let me know that you guys are here just by saying hello. And I have a couple of things I'm going to do right before we get started. But just let me know that you're here, and let me know where you're coming from as well. So if you are wherever you're coming from, just let me know, and we will start momentarily. And so right now, just so you guys know what's going on with this channel, I always like to keep you guys up to date with things. I just started really working on this channel on a regular basis. So I've had videos. I have a lot of videos actually that I've recorded, travel videos, and I haven't really done anything with those videos yet. So I'm going to start putting out some more content on this channel, as well as live streams. I'm going to be doing regular live streams. The majority of the live streams are going to be focused on how to travel on a budget and travel credit cards, things like that. That's what I really want to focus on when it comes to the live streams. Now, the regular videos, I'll be premiering those videos, and those will be videos of me actually traveling to different places. So I'm just kind of giving you guys a heads up on what I plan to do with the channel. And as you guys come in, let me know where you're coming from. So Indiana, what is it? Elkhart, Indiana. Thank you very much. What is it? Conchata Riley. And who else do we have in the room? When you guys come in, just let me know where you're coming from. That way I can give you a shout out before we get started. And we'll be here for a little while just talking about things. Let's see, just stopping by to... I have to really work on this. It's not big enough. I can't read it. Hold on one second. Let me get this. Okay, let's see. B22 just stopped by for a minute. Glad to see you back in the credit card game. Who is this B22? Was your name B22 before? Because I don't remember that name. I was one of the original subscribers before stimulus checks and change. Okay, let me, you know what? Let me talk a little bit about that. B22 while you're here. And for anyone else who watches this, either watching it now or you watch it later, I just want to kind of explain things and how things kind of played out when it came to my other channel. Okay, so I have another channel. I've changed. That channel used to be Travel Explore Click. I had to change the name to the TEC Show. Okay, so it was still Travel Explore Click Show, but I was talking about, for a while, I was talking about travel credit cards. I did that for a period of time. And then I transitioned, when the pandemic happened, I transitioned into talking about updated news. And the news at that time was stimulus checks. Everybody was talking about stimulus checks. So I started talking about that on the channel. Well, I went from 10,000 subscribers that I had when I was talking about travel credit cards to within 45 days, I went over 100,000 subscribers. So now I have 90,000 subscribers, new people coming in that know me for stimulus checks, okay? They know me because I'm talking about stimulus checks. And so at that point, when the channel grew that much, I had to look at the analytics. I had to look at who was watching my videos. And the vast majority of people who were watching my videos were older people. And so I had to cater to the older crowd. A lot of these people don't travel anymore. So travel credit cards, it wasn't anything that they were interested in. I tried a couple of times to go back to travel credit cards, but it just doesn't work. The algorithm doesn't allow you to do that. So YouTube will see you, they'll put you in a certain category, and you have to, if you want to keep the channel going, you have to cater to the audience that you have in front of you. And so uh, it was fortunate that I received a new audience, and I love the audience that I have on the TEC show, and I've transitioned into more Social Security reform and stuff like that, which kind of went with where I was in my life, because I just retired 2 years ago. And so now I'm focused on retirement, Social Security, what's going on in the news and all of that. And so that's what I was doing with that channel. Now, I couldn't go back to travel credit cards at that point. And so I had another channel already, this channel that you guys are watching me on now. And so what I decided to do is bring the travel stuff over to this channel. And now I can start off new and do, regular content on this channel. At one time on Travel Explore Click, I was doing live streams. I was talking about travel credit cards. I was doing these live reviews. But as I stated, once you do, if you start talking about a different topic and it picks, it catches steam, and you have a variety of new people coming in, it's hard to really change from that. So I've had people that have let me know that they're upset. And B22 says he is totally right. Okay, so he understands what I'm saying. But I've had some people that were upset because I did have to change kind of the topics that I was talking about on the channel. But that's why you can have multiple YouTube channels, because you can talk about different topics on different channels. So that's what I did. I just wanted to go over that. So, any of the old people who were watching me before, I appreciate your support. And come back to this channel. We're going to be talking about a lot of that stuff over here. And the crazy part about it is I love talking about travel and traveling on a budget and travel credit cards. I love talking about that stuff. And I enjoyed the time, the live streams that I was putting out at that, back at that time. But I had to face reality. If I'm putting something out and people are getting upset, because that's what usually happens. Just like the people who were watching the travel credit card stuff, they were upset when I was talking about stimulus check stuff. I had a much bigger audience now. After that 45 days, I went over 100,000 subscribers. Those people would be upset, or they were upset when I started talking about credit card stuff. And so I'm kind of caught in the middle, but I have to cater to, it's a democracy. I have to cater to the majority, and the majority didn't want to hear about the travel credit cards. But I can build a new audience here, and hopefully you guys will be interested in saving money when you travel and travel credit cards. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna go ahead. I think we can go ahead and get started. If you guys are in the room, do me a favor, hit the like button. That will help bring more people in the room. And this is gonna be a slow start, right? This is gonna be a slow start when it comes to the channel. I don't have that many subscribers on the channel right now. This is brand new what I'm doing here when it comes to the live streams. So it's gonna take a little bit of time for people to catch on that I'm doing live streams on a regular basis. I haven't decided what date I'm going to do a live stream, or what days I'm going to do live streams on. But I think to get started, I'm just going to get out and just put the content out and do the live streams, and then just kind of see what works best. One thing I like to do is find out what you guys like as far as when you guys want to see a live stream. Is Friday night at 8 p.m. a good time to do a live stream? Is that, so I have to find that out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and let me show you my screen, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this. So the World of Hyatt credit card, I've had it for about 6 years now. And what I really like about Hyatt, just Hyatt overall, Hyatt hotels, the redemption value is usually you don't have to use that many points to stay at a nice hotel. Okay. And I'll be honest with you. I consider, when I'm looking at hotels, I consider the Hyatt Place a nice hotel. They're usually not in the best location. As far as when I say best location, they're in a safe location, but they're not like on the beach and things like that. When I was in Phuket, Thailand, actually it was close to the beach, but it was kind of up on a hill, so you did have to walk down to the beach. It took maybe about 5 minutes to get there. But They're usually not in the best location. The best location is going to, of course, it's going to be the Park Hyatt, the Grand Hyatt, all the the higher end hotels in the Hyatt brand. But I still consider a Hyatt place a nice hotel because it's clean, it's a nice space, and so I'm saying all this to say, when it comes to credit cards, travel credit cards, you want to get a travel credit card that you can earn points, earn a lot of points on, as well as you want to be able to redeem those points, and you want your points to go as far as possible. When it comes to Hyatt, I think they go really far, and so that's one reason why I really like Hyatt. So I want to start off, and I'm using the points guy, his information here, and the reason I'm doing that is because he does a better job. If you guys don't know the points guy, go over to his blog. He talks a lot about travel points. He also talks about just travel in general, but he lays this out a lot better than the Chase website. Believe it or not, there's a lot more information on here that's up front, so you don't have to really go in there searching for it. So, first thing I want to talk about is, and the first thing you need to understand when it comes to these cards is these cards, not all of them, but a lot of them come with an annual fee. Okay, now I know when I say annual fee, people get nervous. What do you mean annual fee? I have to pay just to have a credit card? This doesn't make any sense. Well, you have to weigh that payment. So every year, in this case, it's $95. Okay, so every year you're paying a $95 annual fee. You have to weigh that with the value that you can get out of this card. And if I can get $95 worth of value or more every year, then it makes sense for me to get this card. Okay. Now, one thing I want to talk about when it comes to credit cards in general, all credit cards, you have to be disciplined with credit cards. Okay. You have to pay them off every month. And when you first start out, this is the way I did it. When I first started out, I was paying my credit card off every 2 weeks. Every time I got paid, I was paying my credit cards off. I never carried a balance over that month. I never paid any interest. And to this day, I've never paid interest on my credit cards because I will always pay them off as soon as possible. As soon as it posts, I can pay it off. But generally, I'll wait 2 weeks, pay it off, then another 2 weeks, pay it off. So I never carry a balance. Now I'm a little bit better. And there's some occasions, especially if I'm traveling, I'll just stick to the once a month because if I'm traveling, I'm out doing things and stuff. So if I have time, I'll sit down. I'll see, okay, where are my credit cards at right now? All right, I'm going to go ahead and pay that one. I'm going to go ahead and pay that one. And right now I have about 12 credit cards. Okay. So annual fee, $95. But can you get that value, that $95 value? And you can easily with this card. That's why this is a good card for you. If you're starting out, this is a great card for you to have because you can get the value, you can get that $95 value easy. And I'll show you how that works. So just want you guys to understand that, yes, you have to pay a $95 annual fee. Now, if you have a lot of credit cards like I do, I have about 12 credit cards right now, travel credit cards. That's the only, and another thing too, the only credit cards that I get are travel credit cards. That's it. I don't get any of the other credit cards. Oh, you bank with Wells Fargo, you can get a credit card with it. No, I don't do that unless it's a travel credit card. Okay. And even some of those cards I won't get because I want them to have a strong, these credit cards, I want them to have a strong ecosystem. We'll talk about ecosystems a little bit further on. Like this ecosystem right here with the Hyatt, World of Hyatt card, this is a Chase card. So Chase has a really good ecosystem. American Express has a really good ecosystem. Citi, they have an ecosystem. It's decent. Capital One they're now building up their ecosystem. So it's a pretty good ecosystem. So that's what I'm looking for. Wells Fargo, not so much for me. I'm not really a big fan when it comes to Wells Fargo and some of these other banks, but I'm a huge fan of Chase. And I recently, well, I won't even say recently, it's been It's been 2 years. I got the Venture X card, so I'm now in the Capital One ecosystem. And then I got an American Express Platinum, so I'm in that American Express ecosystem as well. But Chase is still my favorite, my preferred ecosystem. Okay, so, and we'll talk a little bit more about ecosystem too and what that means, because this some of this stuff you might be thinking, well, why does it matter what credit card, bank, what credit, what's the difference between Chase, American Express, and all these different ones? So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the details when it comes to this card, some of the things that I like about this card. So we already talked about the annual fee. We know that. Now, on this card, we'll skip down here, and we're going to talk about the 65,000 points, okay? So think of it like this. When it comes to points, you're going to think of it like 1 point or 1 cent per point. That's the way you need to think about it. So 65,000 points is equivalent to $650. That's bare minimum. You should never go lower than that, and you should really try to aim for getting better value than that. But what they're saying with this card, if you spend 3,000, this is where they're starting, or I won't say they started. They've been doing this for a while, but they're doing these two-tiered. They have a two-tiered system. I don't like it. Back in the day, 3-4 years ago, it was a lot different, where you would get that 65,000 right after spending, because what they want you to do, let me show you this. They want you to spend $3,000 in the first 3 months, and that will get you 35,000 points. Okay, now they recently changed this. It used to be 30,000 points for that. If you spend $3,000 within the first 3 months, you get 30,000 points. And then if you spend 15,000 total in 6 months, now I understand that's hard for you to do. I mean, it's hard for most people to do. But if you spent 15,000 in 6 months, you'll get an additional 30,000 points, bringing your total up to that 65,000. Okay. So right now, realistically, most people can probably hit that 35,000 benchmark. Now, going above that, that's going to take some spending. 6 months, you have to spend 15,000. One thing that you can do is you can wait to get this card. So wait until you have something, you're going to have to spend a lot of money on something, maybe some home repairs, pay for your taxes, things like that. Wait for a significant event and then get the card. That way you can use that card to pay for those events, and that can get you to that 15,000 if you're trying to aim for the 15,000. However, 35,000 points when it comes to Hyatt is really good. It's really good. And I'll show you in a minute how you can use those points to stay in hotels, and you can stay for up to 7 days at a hotel using just 35,000 points. Okay. So you don't have to use that many points in order to stay at Hyatt properties. All right. So just looking at this realistically, 35,000 points is, I would say, doable for most people. And you think about it this way too. You're saying $3,000. Wow, can I spend $3,000 in 3 months? If you're using your credit card, and this is the way I do it, I use my credit card for all of my purchases. Everything that I never use my debit card. Very rarely will I ever use cash. And I'm always using my credit cards. But like I said, I pay them off in full every month. So I never carry a balance on the credit card. So I'm just utilizing the credit card for all my spending so I can earn points, but I have money in the bank. I'm not using, and this is the way I used to be. And I was bad when I was in college. I didn't know anything about credit cards. I didn't know how they worked. And in college, I was living in the dorms and I wanted free t-shirts, I went to UNLV. So I wanted free UNLV t-shirts. So you go to the game and you had all these vendors out there, and some of the vendors were credit card companies. And they say, oh, sign up, we'll give you a free t-shirt. Okay, where do I sign? So I sign up, get a Discover card, get a, a MasterCard, this and that, just random cards. They weren't travel credit cards. And I didn't know how to use them. And I'm in college, so I'm broke. And, I didn't use them the right way. I would use the card and then pay the minimum. Before you know it, those cards, I was owing a lot of money on those cards. And so it took me a while, after I got out of college and I got a job and I started working. And then, it was probably, I didn't really start getting serious about like my credit cards and getting, paying those off. It took me, I would say about 10 years ago is when I really started focusing on that and I was able to pay them off. But when it came to the travel credit cards, I really didn't get into that. I got into travel credit cards, I believe it was around 2015, somewhere around there, 2015, 2016. I started really, I think it was 2015 because I started taking trips in 2016. So I started looking at the travel credit cards at that time. But when it comes down to it, pay your credit cards off in full every month. Okay. Never carry a balance on your credit cards, but use your credit cards for all your spending. So if you can spend $1,000 per month, or if I were you on the safe side, I would spend a little more than $1,000. I'd spend like $1,100 a month or $1,200 a month. You want to go over, you want to hit that benchmark, that $3,000 prior to the end of the 3 months, because if you don't, then you're not going to get anything. You don't want to come close. I mean, you can come close, but go at least $100, $200 over. Okay, so you'll make sure that you hit that spend. You can always call, like in this case, it's Chase. You can call Chase Bank. Hey, where am I when it comes to the qualification? And they'll tell you, okay, yeah, you've earned this amount. So just things like that, just think about. But I would think most people, it's not that hard if you're using it for all of your spend. You're not using your debit card anymore. You probably spend $1,000 a month on different things. Okay, and that's not including your car payment and your mortgage or your rent. Okay, so we're talking about other things. Okay, so 6,500, we talked about that. Now, when it comes to this whole area right here, this area should not apply to you. If you think this area is going to apply to you, and we're talking about the APR, we're talking about the interest. If you think this area is going to apply to you, if you're looking at this and you're saying, wow, 29%, 29.99% ongoing penalty. If you're looking at this stuff, don't get the credit card. Okay? Because this right here should not apply to you. Because as I stated, you need to pay your credit cards off every month in full. Never carry a balance. And so this doesn't mean anything to me. This means something to other people who want to pay the minimum balance and end up paying all this interest. But to me, it doesn't mean anything. So it doesn't even register in my head because I know I'm going to pay it off. I am not going to use my credit card if I don't have money in the bank. If I don't have money to pay for something, I'm not going to get it on credit and say, oh, I'll just wait until next month and, I'll have a little bit more money and I can pay, pay a little bit towards it. No, I'm not going to do that. Not at all. Okay. If you guys are wondering about credit scores, and like I said, the Points Guy, this is his blog, does a really good job of laying everything out. And so check this channel out. Our channel. He does. I think he does have a channel as well, but he had a channel back in the day. I don't know if he still has it, a YouTube channel. But check out his blog because he's got a lot of good information on there. But we're looking at credit scores, 670 to 850. Actually, 850 is the highest you can go, but 670. So we're looking at basically good credit. You need to have good credit in order to apply for this card. Now, let's say you're working on your credit. Well, if you're working on your credit, you can get a secured credit card, which means that you put a deposit in, let's say $300. You give that $300 to the bank. They issue you a credit card. Now, not all banks do this, but some banks have secured credit cards. They'll issue you a credit card, and then they'll just monitor how you're using your credit card. Are you paying it off? Are you accruing late fees or anything like that? And then after 6 months to a year, they can advance you up to a unsecured credit card. So basically a regular credit card. So you can work your way up that way. So if your credit is not good, you can get that secured credit card, build your credit up, and then get to a point where you can get one of these cards. Now, if you're around this number, 670, you can still apply and see if you qualify for one. There are no guarantees when it comes to credit cards. There are no guarantees at all. You can have really good credit, but they see something that they're not comfortable with, and they might not give you a credit card. Now, one thing when it comes to Chase, I will say this: Chase credit cards, you should be getting those cards first. You should be getting Chase cards first because they have this rule, this unwritten rule, 524. And basically, they're saying that they're only going to approve you if you've had less than five. Well, I guess, is it 5 or less? 5 or less. I can't even remember all the details. This has been going on for a while when it comes to Chase, but they will decline you if they see that you have more than 5 credit cards in a 2-year period. So you have to look into that. So if you're getting credit cards, even if they're not Chase credit cards or with other credit card companies, they're going to take that into consideration, and they might not approve you for a card, even if you have an 850 credit score, if you have over that limit. Okay, so that 5. So that's why I always tell people, Chase is, when it comes to travel credit cards, Chase is a great ecosystem, but you should start with their cards first. Because what you don't want to do is let's say I get 2 Chase credit cards, and then I get a credit card, Capital One credit card, and then I go and get an American Express credit card, and then I go and get, get a Wells Fargo credit card just because my, bank is telling me, hey, you should get a Wells Fargo credit card. And then I try to go back and get some more Chase credit cards because I realize, wow, there's some value in Chase. Let me get some more of these Chase credit cards. And guess what? They say, you're pretty much over this unwritten rule, this limit, and so we can't approve you any more credit cards. And so you have to wait for 2 years, and then when those cards fall off, then you can start applying for some new credit cards. So I always advise people, if you're going to get credit cards, start with Chase. The credit cards that I would recommend, obviously this one, the Hyatt World of Hyatt card. I also, and this is, actually, you know what? I'm going to wait to the end, and we'll talk a little bit more about the strategy when it comes to Chase credit cards. Okay, so $95 annual fee. We already talked about that. And so that's the main thing when it comes down to these cards. But I want to talk a little bit about the earn possibilities with these cards, because you're not just getting the card for the sign-up bonus, because you'll get that sign-up bonus after spending, let's just say you get the 35,000 points after spending the 3,000 in that 3 months. They'll give you that sign-up bonus. That's great. But why would I keep the card? Well, you can keep the card and keep using the card because you're earning points every time you use the card. So Hyatt stays, you're going to get a total of 9 points. That is it. But you have to have a World of Hyatt. You have to be a World of Hyatt member, which is free. All you need to do, if you're going to stay at a Hyatt property, if you're going to stay at any hotel property, make sure that you sign up for their rewards program, whatever it is. Okay. I don't care where you're staying. Make sure you sign up for their rewards program. It's free, and you earn points. Even if you don't have a credit card, you can earn points just by spending money and staying at their hotel property. So you should be a World of Hyatt member anyway. If you're staying at a Hyatt, if you're staying at Marriott, same thing. Sign up for the Bonvoy program. So Hilton, same thing. You sign up for all these programs. If you're staying there, sign up for the program. I like to book directly with the hotel. Okay, and this is where a lot of people don't do this. They say, "Oh, I'm going to get." I don't even know if travel agents are still around, but I mean, you can call Costco or AAA or you can get on Expedia and just book everything through them. I don't use third parties. I like to deal directly with the company, because if something goes wrong, I don't want to have to call Expedia and say, hey, I need to make a change here or change there. And now, they're the middleman. And so now I got to deal with them, and then it's easier if you just deal directly with the hotel, or you're dealing directly with the airline. So you can get this 9 points. So 9 points for every dollar spent there. And so what I'm saying is 9 points for every dollar spent. So every dollar that I spend, I'm getting 9 points. And so you can see how that adds up. Over a year's time, you can earn a lot of points just by using the credit card at Hyatt. Okay, now this is only at Hyatt. Now, for pretty much not all other I can't talk. Hold on. Not all other spend, but so you're going to get 2 points for every $1 spent at restaurants, airline tickets that are booked directly with the airline, local transit and commuting, and then fitness clubs and memberships. So you're going to get 2 points for every dollar spent on those things. Let's say you have membership. I don't know, 24-hour fitness. Every month you're paying $30 a month. Well, you can put that on this credit card, and now you're getting 2 points for every dollar spent. So you're getting 60 points every month just on that, and that's just rotating. Just because that's automatic because you're paying your membership, right? And you're not paying any more for your membership. You're paying the same amount, but you're earning points while you're doing that. Okay, so let's get rid of some of this stuff on the screen. So if you guys have questions, let me know in the comments below. Or comments. Let me know in the chat, and I'll talk a little bit more. We'll answer some of those questions. But let's see. The other thing here. Now, the $95 annual fee. Actually, let's see some of the pros and cons that the points guy put on here. So some of the pros. The annual free night. So we're going to talk about the annual free night. So that is a pro every anniversary year. So you get the card today. A year from today, that card, you'll get a free night. Okay? So you're not going to get a free night right off the bat. You're going to get a free night on that 1 year anniversary. So the benefit of getting this card, and you have to pay a $95 annual fee, but you get a free night for up to a category 4 hotel. Now I'm going to show you some of the different category hotels so you can kind of get an idea of what a category 4 would be. But you're going to get that free night every year. After you have to look at it this way. When you first get the card, hopefully you should be getting the card because you think that you can hit that balance or hit the minimum spend. If you hit the minimum spend, at least that first tier, get 35,000 points, that can be equivalent to up to 7 nights. But if you want to stay in a nicer hotel, you might only be able to get 2 or 3 nights. And I'll show you the point breakdown, what you need in order to stay at certain hotels. But that is a good perk. Definitely, a free night just by having the card. That to me is worth $95 a year. I will gladly spend $95 a year if I get a free night at a Hyatt property every year, because I know I'll use it. And if you're that type of person that you don't think you're going to use it, well, then no, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to get this card because you're spending $95 and you're not going to use that free night. Now, I can think most people at least stay 1 night away from their house, their apartment, or they stay at least 1 night away per year. So most people should be able to use this. Even if you're not a heavy traveler, you should still be able to say, oh, you know what? I got a free night. Let's go do this or let's go do that, and we'll stay at a Hyatt. Okay, so that's the first pro that they have on here. Then they have you get an automatic Discoverist Elite status. Okay, so you have Discoverist, Explorist, and Globalist. And then I think you have Member. Member is just someone who signs up for the program for free. They're a member. And then you reach a certain level of nights stayed, then you become a Discoverist. But by having this credit card, you're automatically a Discoverist. So you're at the bottom of the Elite status, but you can still get preferred room upgrades, things like that. So they might not upgrade you to, or they're not supposed to upgrade you to a suite. However, I will say that I've been upgraded to a suite, and I'll show you the suite that I got upgraded to. And at that time, I was a Discoverist. So it's not a lot of times if they see that you're at least an elite member. When I say elite, I mean you're a discoverers, explorers, or globalists. They will try to help you out, and if they have something available for the night or for a couple of nights, and they don't have a globalist that's checking in, then they can give you, sometimes they'll give you their those rooms. So you'd be surprised. All right, and then they're just talking about the 9 points per dollar for Hyatt hotel stays. And then what else do they say here? Ability to earn additional free night award. Okay, so you can earn an additional free night reward after spending, I believe it's $15,000. Okay, I understand. So let's say you're using the card for all of your spend for that whole year. You go over that $15,000 for the year, they'll give you an additional free night. Okay, so let's say you just have one credit card. Like for me, it's a little harder because I have multiple credit cards and I use them for different things. But let's say you only have one credit card and it's the World of Hyatt credit card, and you're using it for all your spend. And I mean, I guess it's reasonable, right? You spend $1,200 a month, $1,500 a month on your expenses, and you're using the same credit card for all of that spend. If you do it for the whole year, then you go over that 15,000, and then you'll get that additional free night. So you get one free night, and then you can earn an additional free night. So you'll have 2 free nights for the following year. Okay, and then the cons on here, of course, the annual fee. We talked a little bit about that, and then this is a big one too. Okay, and I love Hyatt. I will always stay at a Hyatt property. However, they have a limited number of Hyatt hotels globally compared to the other brands. If we're looking at Marriott, IHG, they're the biggest footprint. I think IHG is the largest footprint. And then you have Marriott hotels, and then Hilton, and then you have Hyatt. Okay, so Hyatt, they don't have a lot of properties, but I will say all of their properties are nice. All of their properties, in my opinion, are I have not stayed at a Hyatt property that was I don't want to say, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this, where I didn't feel safe, where it was dirty, where it was just, the bed was all, not comfortable. Every Hyatt hotel that I've stayed in was a good, it was a good environment to be in. Okay. I didn't have any issues or anything like that. And then customer service. Customer service, in my opinion, is the most important thing when it comes to travel. I want to know that I'm being taken care of if I'm spending money at your hotel. And with Hyatt, I've never had any issues. Now, I need to be fair here. I haven't really had any issues with other hotel chains either. But when it comes to Hyatt, anytime I have a question or, might be a minor complaint or something like that, they always take care of it. If I'm staying at the hotel and I tell them, there's something going wrong or whatever, they take care of you. I'll tell you this story really quickly. Let me come back to the main screen and then we'll finish talking about this. But I had a situation, or it wasn't a situation. Actually, I'm saying it was a situation like it was a big deal. What it wasn't. I was staying in Cartagena, Colombia. And I always, when I stay in Cartagena, Colombia, I like to stay in the Hyatt Regency in Boca Grande, in this area of Cartagena. And I usually won't stay there for more than 3 or 4 days because I use points, and it does eat your points up pretty fast. It's 12,000 points per night. But usually once or twice a year when I'm going out there, I will stay at the Hyatt Regency, and then I might get an Airbnb after that and stay a little longer if I plan to stay longer. But anyway, this was just last year. Went up to the Hyatt Regency in Cartagena, and first off, when you get out of the car, I never had to touch a door I didn't even have to touch the elevator button. There's always someone there. Someone opens the door for you. They grab your bags, they get your name and everything. They take you up to, because at the Hyatt Regency, you don't check in on the first level. They take you up. I think it's up to like the 12th level, and then you check in there. So anyway, we get up to the 12th level. The bellhop takes my bags over to the side, and then I'm standing in line. There's only one person in front of me, but there's like two lines. There's two lines. There's one person in front of me, and the bellhop goes over to and tells the person behind the counter who's here, you know. So the manager, I'm watching this because I'm just standing there and there's nothing else to do. So I'm watching. So the manager comes over and talks to one of the people that was behind the counter, and then the manager comes over to me, and so the manager knows my name because he got it from the bellhop, gave it to the person behind the counter, and then the manager gets. So the manager comes up to me, and at this time, when the manager was coming up to me, I was next in line. The other person was being taken care of, and so the manager says, "Oh, sir, let's go upstairs." And I know, like, I've stayed here before, so I know kind of the layout and everything. So he's saying, "Let's go upstairs. There's a club level, and on the club level, you can also be checked in. Now, the club level is for the elite, you know, the members, right? You know, the discoverers, explorers, and the globalists. But you can still pay to stay. Like, if you want to pay for, actually, you know what? I don't know. I don't know if that's offered to everyone. But anyway, he came up to me and said, "Sir, we can take care of you upstairs." So he took me upstairs, took me up to the club level. Of course, the club level is all nice, and you know, they have food, and you know, it's just like, it's a lounge is what it is, but it's at the very, very top of the hotel. And they have, you know, they'll check you in, but there's only like two places to check people in, and you sit in a nice little chair and get checked in or whatever. So anyway, I get checked in there, and then I end up getting the club level rooms. But what I'm trying to explain through this whole thing is, I'm standing in line. He sees I'm standing in line, and instead of just letting me stand in line, because there's only one person in front of me, he comes over to me. Of course, it makes you feel special. Someone's coming over to you and say, "Hey, you know what? Let's go upstairs. We can check you in at the club level." Okay. And he knows there's no one up at the club level. So I just go right up there and check in. No problem. But that gives, you know, that's a good impression that you have on that establishment. He didn't have to do that, but he's like, "Oh, you know what? Let's do that." So we don't have anyone standing in line for a long period of time, which I wasn't, but even still, it's a good gesture. And it makes you want to spend more money at the hotel. It makes you want to stay at the hotels, you know, that kind of stuff. I've never had that happen to me at any other hotel chain, I'll tell you that. And I've stayed at Marriott's, I've stayed at Hilton's, I stayed at some IHG properties, but I usually only stay at like a Holiday Inn when it's IHG. But I've never had that experience before, and I've been a part of their program. Just having the American Express Platinum gets you gold at Marriott. I think it's Marriott and Hilton. So, and a gold status would be above a discoverist status. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to tell that story just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on when it comes to like just customer service. And like I said, when I go and stay at a Hyatt, I've never had an issue that wasn't resolved. Never had an issue that wasn't resolved. And it's always, you know, they're always very nice about taking care of you and things like that. Okay, let's go back here. I want to show you guys. So as we were stating, there are limited Hyatts, okay? And there have been places that I've gone and they don't have a Hyatt, and I wish they had a Hyatt. I travel a lot to Latin America. I travel to Colombia a lot, specifically. And I know all the Hyatts in Colombia now because I go there so often. They have two Hyatts in Bogota. They have, I think it's a Grand Hyatt. This hotel, the Grand Hyatt, I've stayed there a couple of times. The nicest hotel that I've ever stayed in. But it's not very expensive, and you don't have to use that many points when you stay there. But it's a really, really nice hotel. The only problem is I don't really like Bogota. There's not much there. There's not much to do there. It's kind of more, business, government, that kind of stuff. There's not a lot in Bogota that, I don't really like there's not enough to do. Okay. I like to stay in Medellin as well. Medellin, there's no Hyatt property, no Hyatt properties at all. And so in Bogota, you had two, like I said, so you have the Grand Hyatt and then you have a Hyatt Place. They opened up a couple of years ago. I have not stayed at the Hyatt Place, but Hyatt Place, lower level hotel, lower category, but I would imagine it's still nice. It's probably not in the most desirable area, but if you want to stay at a Hyatt, you want to use points, you're in Bogota, you stay at a Hyatt Place. If I go back, I'll probably, anytime I go to Bogota, I'll consider staying at a Hyatt property. I'll probably at least try to stay at the Hyatt Place just because I haven't stayed there before. And I like the Hyatt Place rooms are nice. They're nice, large rooms. They usually have a little kind of a half partition, and they have the bed and the bathroom and shower and all that. And then they always have like a little sitting area. So you have room, you have a couch that pulls out. So if you have, like, let's say 4 people and they want to stay, you can have 2 queen beds, or you can have just 1 king bed if there's a couple. And then you can have a pull-out bed as well. And so, but they always have that little area that's off to the side. A lot of times they'll have the refrigerators in there and stuff like that. Some of them will even have microwaves. You can stay at a Hyatt House. So you have Hyatt Place and Hyatt House are kind of on the same level. But the Hyatt House has the little kitchen and a larger refrigerator. And so if you want to do long-term stays, the Hyatt House is probably better for you because you can cook food and stuff like that. Okay, so, all right. Now, what I want to talk about right now is the categories. So you're asking yourself, okay, well, I have 35,000 points. Let's say you get this card, you hit that minimum spend, you get 35,000 points. Congratulations. Now, what do you do with those points? And I've talked some of my friends into getting travel credit cards. And the one thing that they say is, okay, I got my points. What do I do with them? And they don't know what to do with the points. The one thing that you don't want to do with your points, if you can avoid it, is cashing them out. Okay. Not all credit cards will allow you to do this, but some travel credit cards are like cashback cards. They will let you cash them out. You can get gift cards. You can just cash them out if you want to do that. I highly, what's the right word? Don't do it. Just don't do it. Unless you absolutely have to, you're going to get the worst value if you just try to cash them out. Okay. What you want to do, if you're getting a travel credit card, you're getting that card because you're interested in travel. So if you're getting that card, try to use it for travel because that's where you're going to get the best value. As soon as you start cashing cards out or cashing the points out, you're going to get, like I was saying, 1 cent per point. If you're lucky, you'll get 1 cent per point. So if you do have, in this case, 35,000 points, which would be equivalent to $350, the best case scenario, if you cash those points out, you're going to get $350. However, as I stated, depending on where you stay, and we'll work it out right now. Let's say, so looking at the categories, category 1, hotels, 5,000 points. That's generally how many points that you're going to need in order to stay one night at a category 1 hotel. Now, I was talking about Hyatt Place hotels. It depends. Not all Hyatt Place hotels are category 1. It depends on the location. Okay, so in Los Cabos, it's a category 1. So it just depends on where you are. Category 2 hotel, 8,000 points. Category 3, and in my case, a Hyatt Regency, I was staying at Hyatt Regency. It was a category 3. Very nice, and this is in Cartagena. Very nice hotel. They upgraded me to a nice suite. And I'll do a separate video and I'll show you guys, or maybe in another live stream. I was trying to set it up, but I couldn't find the video. I only found a video for where I stayed in Kauai, and I'll show you that one at the end of this later on in this live stream. But 12,000 points, generally when I go to Cartagena and I'm staying there, that's what I'm staying in a category 3. And it's it's a very nice hotel. It's attached to it's relatively new. I think it's probably I'd say about 7 years old, maybe 6 or 7 years old. It's attached to a mall. So you just walk right out of the hotel and right over. The buildings are attached, but you have to walk outside and then walk up, and you can go into the mall. And then behind it, there's a supermarket, Olympica supermarket. So if you need to get water, you need to get food and stuff like that, you can go to the supermarket that's attached to the building as well. It's a really good place to stay, but 12,000 points is what I use. That's a category 3. Category 4, 15,000 points. Category 5, and this is where you're getting into the real eccentric, nicer, the best that Hyatt has to offer, basically. Category 5, 20,000 points. Category 6, 25,000 points. The room that I'm going to show you in Kauai, when I stayed in Kauai, I believe it was a Park Hyatt. I think it's a Park Hyatt. That was 25,000 points. Okay. And then category 7 is 30,000 points. And then there's a category 8. And that, I believe, is 40,000 points per night. Okay. But when you're looking at other chains, Marriott, it's like 30,000 points just for a regular, what you could get at a Hyatt place at a category 1, you're going to pay like 30,000 points. So the point values are different. Now, it might be easier to earn points. And this is where it gets confusing, because you start looking at, okay, should I get a Marriott Bonvoy card? Because they're giving me 100,000 points. Why should I get this Hyatt card that's only going to give me, if I spend 15,000, it'll give me 65,000 points. But generally, I'll probably only get like 35,000 points because I'm not going to be able to spend that 15,000 in 6 months. So what's the difference between the Hyatt credit card with 35,000 points, if I can get a Bonvoy and they're offering me 100,000 points? Well, it's how many free nights you can, or how many nights that you can use. Like if it's 30,000 a night, that's only 3 nights. Whereas I stated here, you're looking at a category 1, 5,000 points. You have 35,000 points. That's 7 nights. So you can stay 7 nights at a Hyatt place in when I'm talking about the same level, 30,000 points at a Marriott hotel or Marriott property is not going to be the top tier. You're going to have to spend a lot more in order to get up to the top tier. So it does make sense, even though the points are valued differently. Okay, let's see. All right, other things that you want to consider when you get a credit card. The credit cards, the reason I use a credit card for all of my spend, because I've actually changed the way I'm doing things, and I changed this when I started getting credit cards and I started understanding how they work and started paying them off every month in full. Then I wasn't using my debit cards anymore. And then I understood how this whole process works. Like you should be using your credit card. You really should be using a credit card for all of your purchases because you have protections. You don't get protections with just using a debit card in most situations. You might get a little protection, but you get much more when it comes to a credit card. If you're using cash, you don't get any protections at all, okay? And so I want to talk about travel protections first, and then we'll just talk about overall purchase protection, because that's something big as well. So when it comes to, and this is all going to depend on what credit cards did you get, but I'm just going to go over these briefly. I don't want to get in too much detail when it comes to this, but I just want you to know what's available when you use your credit card, when you're purchasing airfare and hotel and all that. So you get trip cancellation, trip interruption, insurance. Like I said, I'm just going to briefly go over these. I'm not going to go over all the details when it comes down to it. But you get trip delay reimbursement. You get travel accident insurance. Okay. And when it comes to realistically, when it comes to these all of these right here, luggage reimbursement, baggage delay. I personally, this is good to have, okay? But anytime I'm traveling, I'm always getting additional travel insurance, specific travel insurance. And I usually go to travelinsurance.com. I'm not being sponsored by them or anything, but I like to get better coverage than what credit cards can offer you. But it's still good to have both. So if I'm using my credit card, I know that I'm getting some travel, some insurances, but then I also want to have a separate travel insurance, and I'll use them, for different reasons. Like, let me just give you an example. So we were talking about the travel accident, when you pay for your Airbus travel. Okay. So accidental, this is what I'm looking at here. So accidental death and dismemberment, up to 500,000. If I get travel insurance, separate travel insurance, I can get better coverage. Like, you can be covered for even more, up to $1 million if you want, or emergency evacuation and things like that. So you can get more. You can get like 25,000. I'm just giving you an example, but you can get like 25,000 for if you get injured in that country. They'll give you 25,000 or up to 25,000 if you have to go to the hospital. Because if you're going to the hospital, your insurance at home in the US is not going to cover you in another country unless you have some type of an international insurance, and most of us don't. We just have insurance that covers us in the US. So if you're outside of the country and you get injured, guess what? You're going to have to find a way to pay for that, and you need to pay for it before you leave. They're not going to let you leave without paying for it because they know how it goes. If you leave and you get back to the US, you're just not going to pay them. So having travel insurance is very important when it comes to stuff like that. But where I would use this card is when it comes to situations like this, where you get your lost luggage. Okay, if you're an immediate family member, check your carry-on luggage damage, lost. Okay, so if your luggage is lost, damaged, stolen, $3,000 per passenger. My travel insurance might also give me something comparable to that, but the reason why I like this is because if I have an issue in a lot of situations, especially like this baggage delay insurance, they're going to give you $100 a day for 5 days. All I need to do, I don't have to file a claim, or I'm going to file a claim with the credit card company, but I don't have to wait for them. If it's a travel insurance company, I'm going to have to wait. There's going to be some delay. I can file a claim and they'll tell you, okay, go ahead and use your credit card. And then we'll just credit that $100 every day for 5 days. So it's much easier. So that's why I would use a credit card in this situation. If I have a situation where my bags are delayed and they're going to give me $100 per day, I'll use that because I can just go and just use the credit card. I don't have to worry about waiting. There's a wait time for the, and what I would imagine, I haven't filed a claim before when it came to baggage delay, but I would imagine that the travel insurance would tell you, well, just use your credit card and then we'll credit you. We'll reimburse you is what they'll say, but there's still kind of a wait time there. And so this is this easier situation. Okay. So auto insurance. So if you're traveling, you can use this, but this is secondary. Okay. So it's important to note that it's secondary insurance. It's not primary insurance. So you'd still, let's say you have your own insurance and it covers you for rental cars, you can use that. So if you get an accident, that's what's going to be covered. You're going to use your primary insurance. But for certain things, like if you get stuff stolen out of your vehicle, certain other things that they consider secondary insurance would be applied to, then you can use it for that. Not something that I would use. I would use how can I say? Yeah, I would use a different credit card. The Chase Sapphire Reserve, I have that credit card, primary insurance, car insurance for rentals. So I would use that card in a situation like that. I wouldn't use this card to rent a car. So that's what I'm trying to say there. Okay. And one more thing, briefly, I'll show you guys. So we're talking about purchase protection. One of the good things about credit cards in general, and like I said, all credit cards, they're different in this, but this actually saved me once. So it covers your new purchases for 120 days against damage or theft up to $500 per claim, and then $50,000 per account. Okay. So up to $500 per claim. And so let's say you buy something, and this happened to me. So I'll tell you the story. I bought a laptop, and I had it for maybe 45 days. And it was funny because I was actually shooting a live stream when it happened. But I grabbed the I don't want to move this, but I grabbed the corner of the screen to pick it up. And when I grabbed it to pick it up, it just cracked. I can hear like a cracking sound, and then the screen just went blank. So I cracked the screen. And so don't do that. Don't ever lift unless it's like a tablet. Like I'm using a tablet now. Tablet's fine because the screens are tougher. But if it's like a laptop, especially the older laptops, don't pick it up by the side, because usually you're probably gonna crack it. So anyway, I cracked the screen, and I'm like, oh man. So I'm all upset. I think I paid like $1,000 for the laptop, but I didn't think anything of it. I was just thinking, okay, well, looks like I need to buy another laptop now. But then I started thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. I know I bought it with a credit card. Which credit card did I buy it with? So I looked up which credit card I bought it with. I was, it was a Chase card, but it wasn't the Hyatt card. And so I said, okay, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call them and see if this purchase protection works. And so I called them. I let them know what the situation was. And they said, okay, yeah, you'll be covered. You're within that 120 days. Just take it to a place where you need to get, where it needs to be fixed, and use your credit card to pay for it. And then make sure you get their invoice and everything so you can send it to us. And so that's what I did. And it cost like, I want to say it was like $200 for them to fix it. And so they fixed it, and they credited my account. So they didn't even really have to credit it because I used it. And well, yeah, they did credit it because I used it. So I purchased the repair, and then they just wiped it off my account. So it does work. Purchase protection does work. And I highly recommend using your credit card when you're buying items like that, electronics, big ticket items. Use your credit card, because you get these protections that you're not going to get unless you're using a credit card. Let's see, I lost my little thing here. Let's back out of this real quick. All right. Okay, so, and then the last thing when it comes to purchase protection, let's see. This is big. So it will extend your warranty, okay, your manufacturer's warranty. It'll extend it 1 additional year. So let's say you get 3 years, you have 3-year warranty on something that you purchase using your credit card. And this is not all, like I said, this is not all credit cards, but just look in the fine print, and they'll tell you what they cover and what they don't. But most credit cards, they do this, okay? You'll get, and I think, yeah, most credit cards will cover this. You get an item. Let's say I purchase a laptop, and something goes wrong with the laptop, and it's out of warranty. So let's say the warranty is for 1 year. If I use my credit card, I get an additional year of warranty, okay? If something goes wrong with that laptop, and it's something that would have been covered in the manufacturer's warranty, but it's past that 1 year mark, I can still get it fixed, and I can use my credit card for that, okay? Because my credit card will cover me a 1 year over the warranty. So that's something else to think about. And then fraud protection. I always say this too. When it comes to credit cards, the probably most valuable thing when it comes to credit cards is the fact that it's not tied to your bank account. And that was the big selling point for me. I had some training when I was working. And if you guys don't know, I'm retired now. So I've been retired for a couple of years. But when I was working, I had training. And the instructor told us, never use your debit card. Especially if your debit card ever leaves your line of sight, never use your debit card. Because your debit card, you can easily be a victim of fraud in that situation. Because what happens, especially like we all have this situation happen to us. We go to a restaurant, you sit down, you have a meal. After your meal, they bring out the check. They put in that little envelope thing, and you put your credit card in there, and you hand them the envelope, and then they walk off, and you don't know where they're going with your credit card or with your debit card. You have no idea, right? They could go to the bathroom and pull out a little card reader, swipe it on the card reader. Now they have all your information. Okay? They don't have your PIN number, but they don't need it. For a lot of transactions, they don't even need your PIN number. But they have that. They can do that. Just think of it like this. You have a waiter or waitress or working at a restaurant, and let's say someone, from the criminal element comes in and says, hey, you know what? I'll give you $20 for every credit card or for every debit card information that you give me. And so they just do it all day. And they get $20 for every person. Let's say they see 10 people. That's $200 that they get just for swiping that debit card. So anytime that card leaves your site, make sure you're using a credit card instead of that. Okay. There are some restaurants now where you just walk up, or actually they've been that way for a long time, especially like the cafes and stuff like that. You actually walk up to, they'll give you the receipt, the bill, and then you just walk up and you pay it there. That's fine. In a lot of other countries, in the US, we really haven't, we're starting to move to this, but we're slow about it. Other countries, like I'm in Colombia all the time, they will never take your credit card. And at first I was like, why are they bringing this machine to me? But they bring the machine to you. It's like a wireless machine. And so when they'll ask you, efectivo or tarjeta, if it's a card, you tell them tarjeta, oh, okay. They'll go and they'll get a machine and they'll bring that machine. The machine looks just like the machines that we have here that are attached to, like when you go to the grocery store, that machine that's attached and you can swipe it or, put the pin in. It's the same thing. And so they bring that to you and you just you can just hold it, tap to pay, or you can put it in there or swipe it or whatever. But they have to do it. That's their rule, is they have to do that in front of you. And a lot of other countries are the same way. They have to do that transaction in front of you. They're not going to take your card at all. And like I said, it's different in the US. Yeah, they take them all the time. But you can see how that could be. People can really take advantage of that. And so I'd say in the next 10 years, we're going to see that switch where they're not going to have that little envelope anymore. All the transactions will be done at the table. And we're starting to see it already. If you go into some, especially the chain restaurants, Applebee's and the chain restaurants, they'll have that little machine where you can play games, and then your bill comes out there and then you just pay through that machine. They're already doing that now, but they're still accommodating people. So if you want to use a card, then they'll still take it and do it for you. But it's different in other countries, but make sure if you, and just getting to the point, the debit card, if you're using a debit card, they have access to your bank account. And that's what's scary. If you use a credit card, so in that situation, like I'm saying, if they take that card, they take it away and they go and they skim it on whatever they put it in the card reader thing, all you need to do is be up to date. And most of these credit card companies are very good when it comes to catching fraud. And I'll tell another story right after this. But using your credit card, they're going to, the money's not coming out of your bank account. So if the money's not coming out of my bank account, as long as I catch it and tell my credit card company, hey, look, this is what happened, And then they'll say, okay, we'll investigate it. They'll investigate it. And I've never, and this has happened to me a couple of times, like maybe 3 times. I've never had them say, we're not going to cover that. We think it was you. Never. They've never said that. And so they'll look into it and they'll say, okay, and they'll take care of it. Whereas if it's your debit card, in most situations, you are going to get refunded your money. However, they might not do it immediately. And so that money that's been taken out of your account, you're going to have to wait maybe 5 to 10 business days. So if you have to pay your mortgage or pay rent or what have you, and that money was there for that reason, now you're going to have to wait for them to finish their investigation and then refund you the money. Whereas if it's a credit card, that money never came from your bank account at all. It came from the credit card bank, right? It came from them. It didn't come from you. So that's the difference there. I had a situation, and now that I think back on it, I could have been a victim of actually this credit card, or having a waiter scan or use a card reader and get my information. So I was working. It was a Saturday morning, and I used to go out and work early. We would go out early, like 4 or 5 in the morning. We'd be knocking on doors, right? And usually we would end around noon. But we would end the day by going to a restaurant and getting something to eat. So I went to a restaurant, and this was back when I was using my debit card. This was years ago, probably about 12 years ago. I used my debit card. I didn't use a credit card at all. At that point, I didn't like credit cards. I won't say really. I didn't like credit cards because I wasn't using them properly. And at the time, I was still, paying down my credit cards and all that stuff. And so I went ahead and used my credit card. I did the same thing like I told you not to do. They brought the little envelope out, or the little folder out, put my credit card in there, and the waiter took my credit card over to wherever. And so by the time I left that restaurant, and I went and de-geared, took all my stuff off and put it in my office, and then I was headed out. I got into my car. I was going home. I got a text message. Fraud alert from my bank. And I'm like, okay. And nowadays, I mean, it's crazy because sometimes you get legit fraud alerts, and sometimes you get like scammers that are doing this fraud alert. Your bank is blah, 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 whatever. So it was a fraud alert. So I wanted to check it out. And so I actually pulled over and went and checked my account. And I don't think I saw anything on my account right away, but I copied the phone number. This is what I always do. Like anytime you get like a fraud alert on your phone, I want to copy the number and see if it actually shows up. Like Google, just go on Google and put a search in there and see where it says the number's coming from. And usually it's going to say if it's coming from Wells Fargo, or it's going to say that, oh, this has been like reported in the past as being a fraudulent number. So anyway, I pulled it up. It was coming from Wells Fargo. So I went ahead and called the number. Wells Fargo answered the phone and said, yeah, we think there's some fraudulent activity with your account. I'm thinking, okay, well, what happened? And they said, well, we saw that you used it. You made a transaction at this restaurant. And then 10 minutes later, another transaction happened in an area that was about an hour away from you. And so that's how they tied the two together. And they said, and I said, yeah, I went to a restaurant. I used my card there, but I didn't use my card at Home Depot in, I can't even remember what city it was, but it was in like the downtown area of Los Angeles. And I live nowhere near there. And so they said, yeah, okay. They used it at Home Depot twice, at two separate Home Depots, and they ran up a total of about $600. And the last transaction they tried to do, I think they went to a gas station. Then the last transaction they tried to do, it went to another gas station and it was declined. And that's when they caught on to it. And so, but what did they do? They had to do an investigation. So they walked me through all the steps. They said, okay, it's $600. It's out of your account now. and I didn't see it. I don't know why I didn't see it. Maybe when I looked, it didn't show up. I don't know. I didn't see it right away. Maybe it was, I don't know. Maybe it was pending. I don't remember, but they told me that $600 is gone. It's out of your account. However, we're going to do an investigation, and then once we finish the investigation, then we'll refund you the money. And your money is protected anyway. I think FDIC will protect your money anyway in situations like that. But you have to wait, and so that $600 is now out of my account, and I'm waiting for this whole investigation to be settled. That way, they can credit my account again. So if I had like something, and fortunately at that time I didn't have anything that I didn't have any outstanding bills that would have put me in a bad situation. But yeah, that situation happened. Now I do think if you talk to the bank, if you have a situation like this and you talk to the bank, you say, hey, look, I got these outstanding bills that are going to mess up my account. I'm not going to have any money. I'm going to be overdrawn or whatever. Then they'll work with you when it comes to that. But it's just more of a hassle. If you're using a credit card, you don't have to worry about any of that, because it's just a matter of, did you catch it? If you caught it, then go ahead and let them know. And then, like I said, credit cards, actually banks in general, they're pretty good about it. Like they'll even, I used to have this happen to me a lot with banks, like with my debit card and things like that, where you leave the country and you don't let them know prior to you leaving. And then you use your card in Colombia. And then they call you and say, hey, we got some fraudulent activity. You're using your card in Colombia. They used to do that more. Now I haven't had an issue. I actually haven't had an issue. Maybe it's because I know I travel to Latin America a lot, so it's not really a problem. But I know when it comes to credit cards, I've never had a credit card ever call me and say, we think there's some fraudulent activity. Because generally what they'll do is they're going to look at, like, let's say you bank with Chase and you have a lot of Chase credit cards. Like I bank with Chase, or not bank with Chase. I have a lot of Chase credit cards. So they know just by looking at my transactions, oh, he booked a flight to Colombia. So it would make sense that he's using his credit cards in Colombia. So they kind of tie those things in. Whereas my bank, since I don't use it that often, my debit card that often, if I do go, and the only reason I use my debit card in another country is to get some cash out, to exchange the money, because I never go to the little exchange booths. So I always just get money out of the ATM. That's the only time that I'll use my debit card. And so they might see that and they're like, oh, what's going on? Some fraudulent activity. Okay. Let's see. I want to show you guys this video. We'll talk about it. I just want to show you a Park Hyatt in, let's see. Let's answer some questions. We'll look at the chat first, and then we'll show the video. But I just want to set this video up first, if I can find the video. And this is an unedited video, so I'm just gonna play it as is, but it's unedited. I just want you guys to know that, so you won't think, oh, why is he making mistakes and all of that. But we'll hit the chat first, and then we'll show the video. Let's see. Okay, Amber, thank you for stopping by, Amber. And I know you guys are probably, I've been talking for a long time. I didn't realize I just looked up at the clock. Yeah, that was 47 minutes ago. Thank you for stopping by, Amber. I appreciate it. And we'll be doing regular videos, regular live streams on the channel. Okay, and we're going to talk a lot about just traveling on a budget. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I can do that. Let's see. Here's my little extra features here. Good evening. I appreciate your travel and finance tips. It's a good reminder to contact hotels directly. Yes. I had that situation happen to me once where I dealt with a third party and had them set everything up. But then when things go wrong, they go wrong. And it's a pain in the butt to call one place and then they tell you, oh, well, you know what? You're going to have to contact one thing that I really, really dislike And that's one of the main reasons when it comes to airlines. When you're booking airline tickets through a third party, a lot of times you can't pick your seat. And that bothers me because I like to sit in a window seat. If at all possible, I'm sitting in a window seat, or I'll sit in the aisle, but I don't want to sit in the middle. And so when you're booking your airfare directly with the airline, in most situations, not all, but in most situations, you can pick your seat. Now, in a situation where, and this happens to me on occasion, where I will book through, I'll just give you an example. I'll book through United. I'll be flying to Latin America. United doesn't go to it doesn't go to the destination that I'm traveling to. And so they're using a partner airline. They're using Avianca. They're using Copa Air. And so because it's not United doesn't always allow you to pick a seat. And so sometimes that will happen. But it very rarely, it usually doesn't happen, or they will open it up at some point where you can go ahead. Like Avianca will send you a notification and tell you, hey, you can choose your seat now or something like that. But yeah, when you're dealing with third parties, it's not a good deal because you do have to wait. You do have to work through you got a third party involved, and I don't like that. Okay, Nico, different subject, but right now Congress is trying hard to make these credit card point systems go away. Yes. So you know what? And I haven't done much research on this. Okay, so I don't want to speak without knowing all the details. I don't think it will ever go away. Travel credit cards. Now, I think they can make it harder to a point where your points your points aren't valued as much, and we're already seeing that now. Point inflation, if you want to call it that. Where I remember, and I used to fly a lot with United. I've actually switched from United over to American Airlines, but I was flying a lot on United because Latin America, because United was using these partners, and it was you could 35,000 points each way, and it was a business class seat. Now it's like 60,000. If you're lucky, you'll find a 60,000 points for one way business class. I like to fly business class. Okay, when I'm using my points, I'm okay with flying business class. When I'm using cash, it's a little different. It's pretty pricey, but using my points, I don't mind. I don't mind paying. I don't mind using points. But now I'm starting to mind because it's getting crazy. Like, I think on average now when I'm looking for flights, business class one way, it's like 90,000 points. Like, this is ridiculous. 90,000 points used to be, that was even more, like I was spending 70,000 points. And this is just like 3 years ago, right? I'll say just prior to the pandemic, I was spending 70,000 points for a round trip business class seat, on United partners. So on Avianca or Copa. But now it's nothing like that. It's crazy. So yeah, let me just show that on the screen so you guys can see it. And then Nico says Amex is a good system, expensive but benefits and flexibility with points. Yeah, you know what? I'm still relatively new to American Express. I got the Platinum card a year. Actually, it's been 2 years. Wow, it's longer than I thought. Yeah, I got the American Express Platinum 2 years ago, and I've used it for certain things. What I don't like about American Express, they have a lot of there are a lot of benefits to the card, but I don't like how they kind of break up. Like, let's say the Uber credits, they break them up per month. So like they give you $15 a month. I don't like that. I don't use Uber very often. The only time I'll use Uber is if I'm on my way to the airport, but I have no need for it other than that. And so I use Uber Eats, and if I'm feeling lazy, I can use the $15, but Uber Eats, it's expensive anyway. So I'm really not saving much. What I need to do is actually, purchase it on Uber Eats, but then go pick it up. That's what I need to do. But then, it's like, I don't know. But American Express Platinum is good. The American Express ecosystem, I think, is good. They do have a lot of different benefits and promotions, and there are a lot of companies that work with American Express, so you can earn points and stuff in these kind of promotional category things. But I'm still working with them. I'm still working on them. I don't use them that. I don't use the points that often. As a matter of fact, I think my sign-up bonus was 100,000, and I haven't used any points. I still have I'm over 100,000 now, but because I got the sign-up bonus and I just kept using the card, but I haven't redeemed any points yet. I generally, I'll say in the last year, I only redeemed points for hotels, and it was Hyatt hotels. That's the only redemptions I did. I didn't do any redemptions for well, let's see. No, let me take that back. I went to Hawaii. I used points. So I went to Hawaii last year. So I used points for that. But other than that, going to Colombia, I started flying on American Airlines, and I'm just paying. I have the flexibility now because I'm retired, so I can fly out anytime I want, so I can look for the best deals. And I look for the best deals, get a business class flight for like $500 one way, pay $1,000 for a round trip ticket. That's, I don't have any issues with that. So American Airlines flies directly to Colombia, so I'm fine with paying for it. And they have better flight patterns. I got really frustrated with flying on Copa or Avianca. They're good plane. I mean, they're good companies, but they fly other places. I like to be able to fly from the U.S. directly to Colombia. If I'm flying to Colombia or any Latin American country that I'm flying to, I want to fly directly there. I don't want to fly to another country and then go to the end destination, because sometimes when you fly those other countries, you have to go through customs. You have to go through immigration. I don't want to have to do that. Like I flew to Los Cabos. It was a Cabo? I think it was Cabo San Lucas. Flew there just for a layover, but I had to go through immigration. And you got the immigration officer looking at you like, okay, well, how long are you going to be here? 2 hours? And he's looking at me like, what are you talking about? So he stamps my passport and I go, but then I got to pick up my bags. It's just a hassle. I don't like that. I would prefer to, even if it's let's say it's 2 stops, but the stops are in the U.S., do those 2 stops in the U.S. and then straight flight, straight shot to where I'm going. Okay. All right. So I think that's it. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and put it in the comments. Let's see. I want to show you guys this video. So let me set it up before I talk about it. And yeah, I'm just going to show the video and then I'll talk. I don't even know if there's... What's going on, everybody? David here. I'm going to show you a beautiful room. Oh, God. What's going on, everybody? David here. We're going to do a little review of the Grand Hyatt in Kauai. So I just walked in right now. Very impressed. Very happy. This is Before I even talk, I want to set this up. Tell you guys about this, what happened, how many points I used. So every other year we go to Kauai, family, go to Kauai. And so we usually stay for 10 days, and we were staying for 10 days. This video was shot. Wow. This video was shot about 4 years ago. Okay. We stay there for 10 days. I was trying to book a flight back home on that 10th day when we were coming home, but I couldn't get a flight out. I didn't want to spend the points that they were offering. And so I wanted so I said, I'll stay an extra night and then I'll fly out the next day. And it was a significant amount, okay? Because I ended up spending 25,000 points just to stay at this hotel for another night. But I think flying home, it was like 35,000 points to fly home. But if I were to fly on the day that 10th day, it was something crazy like 90 points or 90,000 points or something like that. So it made sense for me to just say, you know what, let me stay an extra night and then I can fly out. And in total, what is that? 35,000 points plus 25,000, 60,000 points. So I would actually save 30,000 points and I would be able to stay an additional night. So that's what I did. So 25,000 points to stay at the Park Hyatt in Kauai. And if you've ever stayed in Kauai before, Hawaii period, but Kauai is very expensive to stay in the hotels because they have a limited amount of hotels. And especially when it comes to like their really nice hotels. And I think, is it a Park Hyatt or a Grand Hyatt? I can't remember. Is it a Park Hyatt or a Grand Hyatt? But anyway, that's not the point. Park Hyatt and Grand Hyatt are both the top tier when it comes to Hyatt properties. And so I booked it, 25,000 points. I show up and I'm only staying for one night. And so I get checked in and then I always ask this. You should always ask this, especially if you have any elite status at all. Or if you sign up for a member, maybe this is the first time staying at the hotel, always ask them, do you guys offer any upgrades? Always ask that. Are you offering any upgrades at the moment? And Hyatt usually does the same thing. They have the same route. They're all trained, they have this customer service training, I guess, and they all do the same thing. So what they'll do is they'll say, let me check. And so that's what she said. She said, let me check. And she's looking through the machine. Usually I've never, even if they don't have anything, I've never had them tell me no right off just answer the question with a no. I've never had them say that. Even if they don't have anything available, they'll always say, let me check. And then they'll just click on the computer. So it's never a no right away. It's always like, okay, let me try to see, even if they're not doing anything, they're not even, there's nothing shown on the screen, they're still trying, right? Or at least they show that they're trying. Okay. So, let's see. It says the chat was disconnected. You guys let me know if everything is coming through. You guys can see me and all that. But anyway, so she says, let me check. And she checks and it might take a couple minutes or whatever. And she was like, hold on 1 minute, sir. So she goes to the back and then she comes back out and she says, I have a good room for you. I have a good upgrade for you. It's a really nice room. And so she shows me this room. And so that's how it is. I'm just setting it up for you. So now she shows me. So she gives me all the information. She says, okay, yeah, we upgrade you to a suite, blah, blah, blah. You'll really enjoy it. And so that is the room that I'm in right now. And I'm going to show you guys the room. And let me know if everything is okay. I just saw, it's just saying, unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. I don't know why it's saying that. Let's see. Let me see. I just want to make sure you guys can still see me and everything. Pereira, Colombia. Thanks for stopping by, Donnie. Let's see. So everything is fine. Let me know. Somebody in the chat, let me know if everything's good. Just give me a 1 if everything's good. Just want to make sure the chat is moving before I go and show you guys the video. Because I'll just show you a video. And I'm going to be the only one watching the video. Okay, it says successfully connected now. I got to get back in the swing of things when it comes to live streams. I used to be on it. I used to know everything going on. Okay, Nico 1, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I used to be really good with the live streams. I got to get back to it. This was years ago. Amber, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to show you the video. This is the room, upgraded room. All right, here we go. Suite upgrade. I got a regular standard room, but they upgraded me, so I want to show you guys this room. This is pretty nice. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so this is the entryway. Just kind of show you there. There's the entryway. There's the front door, and then walking in, you have this full length mirror. So that's pretty neat. And then you have a little area here where you can sit down. You also have a little bar area there. You can make your coffee and all that good stuff. So that's nice. Then walk over here, and we have a nice big screen TV. I don't know, that's probably like 70 inches or something. It's pretty big. And then we have a little area here where you can just lounge and hang out. And then we'll go into the bedroom here. You have these doors. I don't know what you call these, accordion doors. And then you have your nice king-size bed there. And then another little TV up in the corner here. And then you have plenty of closet space there. And then we'll walk around to the bathroom. And in the bathroom, we have shower. And then we have a bathtub there. Then we have a his and hers sinks. And look at the soaps and stuff like that. I generally don't use this stuff, but I'll probably use that because I didn't bring my soap from the other hotel. Now, we have a weird looking toilet. So we have something different there. So I have no idea how to use that, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. But yeah, nice. Really nice place. And the best part of this whole room is the balcony. So we'll walk over there. So balcony, beautiful view. The beach is right out there. You see these people walking. So the beach is right on the other side of that. And this is a real nice setup here. Very, very impressed. And so like I said, I got a regular room. They did upgrade me to this suite. And a regular room, just so you know, regular rooms they were going for, I believe it was $500. I have no idea how much this room is going for. I used points to book this. And all right, so I messed up a few times. I don't even know what I was talking about after that, but yeah. So regular room was $500, and that was 4 years ago. It's actually it's about the same because I just went last year, and I was looking because I wanted to stay there again, and it was about $500 a night. I ended up not staying there. Where did we actually go? Where did we stay? Oh, we stayed at the Sheraton. Yeah, we stayed at the Sheraton Cotton coconut something. But really nice hotel, really nice room. So I spent 25,000 points for a regular room, which would have been $500 a night. That suite was like $1,600 a night. $1,600 a night. And they gave me the upgrade. So I was really happy about that. But at that time, I was a discoverist. I wasn't like at the top tier. I wasn't, and even now, I haven't stayed. I'm usually doing, well, in the last 2 years, I've been doing longer stay like trips. So I'll go to Colombia. I'll stay there for 2 months, 3 months. I'm not going to stay in a hotel for 3 months. And so I stay in an Airbnb. And so I'll break it up a little bit. Maybe a good example is, let's say I'll fly out to Medellin. I'll book an Airbnb for the whole month, because you book it for the month, generally you'll get a discount. And so I'll book it for the whole month. And then if I want to travel, let's say go to Cartagena, I'll fly out to Cartagena, and then I'll stay in a hotel, stay in the Hyatt Regency for 2 or 3 days, and then I'll fly back. And so that's generally what I do. So I haven't been in the last 2 years. Like right now, I'm still a discoverist, because I've in the past, I got up to the globalist level. I got up to the top level. and I was there for 1 year. Then I dropped down to the Explorers, and then I was there for a year, and then the pandemic happened, and I think they honored my Explorers for another year when the pandemic happened. I think they were doing that with they were giving you extended because people weren't traveling, so they were giving you the extended status. But then I dropped down to Discoverist because I wasn't staying at all, and so now I'm at a Discoverist level. But they still upgrade. They will still upgrade you, believe it or not. Like I said, that situation there, I was a Discoverist, and they upgraded me to a suite with I didn't have to pay anything extra or anything like that. So they'll still do it. Sometimes now what they'll do, if I go, especially if I'm going to, when I'm staying in the Hyatt Regency, I've been upgraded there, but I had to pay. It's like $65 a night. So if I book a free room, a free night, they'll upgrade me to the club level, and they'll upgrade me to a club suite. And I've done it, I think 3 times. The last 3 times I stayed at the Hyatt Regency in Cartagena, I've paid for the upgrade. It's like I said, $65 a night. But that includes the free, I don't want to say food because it's not like a meal, but they're like finger foods and wine and drinks, and it's unlimited. So it's like a lounge. If you go to an airport lounge, that kind of food, kind of the finger food stuff. So it's not a full on meal, but it's still good. And you're on the club level. It's a nicer level, and you can just go all day. You can kind of go there, and they have like kind of a happy hour where you can go have drinks up there, or in the morning you can eat breakfast. Breakfast is kind of a full meal. Like they'll have pretty much eggs, bacon, hash browns, and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. So you guys have any questions? Let me know in the comments or in the chat. Let's see. All right, Art Dog. Art Dog says looks very nice and very comfortable. Yeah, it was nice. I only stayed there one night, so that was kind of a bummer. I wish I did have more time there. That would have been nice. That would have really been a good experience if I was able to stay there 3 or 4 nights. But yeah, I was only able to stay one night. But it was good. It was a good experience, and I've had really good experiences staying at Hyatt properties. That's not the first one. I'll tell you stories in the future about some of the things that Hyatt has done, and the reason why I will always choose them first if they're available, if they have an available hotel. But because their footprint is small, sometimes I'm forced to look at. I'll give you my hierarchy when it comes to hotel chains. Hyatt is number 1. Marriott is number 2. I just got the last year I got the Bonvoy card. The reason why we stayed at a Sheraton in Kauai last year was because I had points, and so I booked it with points, and it was actually I take that back. The way that they had a promotion going with Bonvoy. I think it's a Bonvoy. I can't remember. I don't have my wallet on me. I'd pull it out and show you right now. But I got the Bonvoy card, but they have a few different cards. That's why I'm saying I got maybe the Boundless or whatever. But they were offering, if you spent, I think it was $3,000 or $4,000 in the first 3 months, they would give you 5 free nights. And they would give you a certain category. I can't remember what the category was. But I was like, well, that sounds good to me. 5 free nights. And I knew I was going to Hawaii. And so I went ahead and got that card. I got it like maybe February of last year. Went ahead, hit the spend limit, got the 5 free nights. And then I used 2 at the Sheraton. So it was an okay experience. I really, when it comes to Kauai, their hotels, they're either really nice, like the Grand Hyatt and some of those hotels that are really nice, or they're just an average hotel that's way overpriced. Like they're charging the Sheraton. It was like I want to say $350 a night, something like that. And it wasn't a nice hotel. Like it was older. It wasn't anything special. The room that they gave me, because we ended up getting 2 rooms. The room that they gave me was like it was a beach view, but it wasn't a nice beach view. It was like a view of a field, and then you could see the beach off to the left, a little bit of the beach off to the left, and there were people that were camping there. Let's just say that. The true beach bums. They were camping. They had tents and all that kind of stuff. There wasn't a lot of them, but there were a few that were just out there. So that was pretty interesting. But anyway, all right. Any other questions, guys? Just let me know in the comments below or in the chat below. I keep saying the comments below because I'm used to doing regular videos, not live streams. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, put it in the chat and we'll answer those right before we go. But yeah, the World of Hyatt credit card, I would highly recommend considering getting that card for hotel stays. And right now, I'm using most of my points for hotel stays. Whenever I need to stay in a hotel, I'm using points to stay in hotels, and I'm kind of backing away. I'm using more cash just to fly. It's just, I'm getting better value, so that's why I'm doing it. When I say better value, or my points aren't valued, I don't get good point value on United anymore now. I haven't been able to find good point value. So, and the way I kind of look at it is, like we were saying, 1 cent per point. So if I have 50,000 points, that's equivalent to $500. If I'm looking at an airfare and they're telling me, okay, it's going to be 50,000 points, and that airfare, the flight is $500, I don't really want to use my points for that. I want to save those 50,000 points because I can get better value with those points. And especially if I'm looking at a hotel stay. If you got 50,000 points for a hotel, like we were saying, like I showed you, the Category 1 hotel, the Hyatt place, 5,000 points per night. That's 10 nights. If I wanted to use 50,000 points, I can stay there for 10 nights. And 10 nights is going to cost you, if you're paying cash, it's going to cost you more than $500. And so I get better value that way. Now, if I just book that flight and use the 50,000 points just for a one-way flight somewhere, it's not valuable to me. I'd rather just pay the cash and save the points and use them for different reasons. So that's what I'm talking about there. I always look at that. That's very important. All right, guys. So we've been on for a little while now, huh? Ooh, almost 2 hours. So we're going to be doing more live streams. I'll be on here just chatting with you guys, and we'll do some more live reviews, look at some of these credit cards and talk about it. I'll also we'll do like story time, where we'll talk about just different experiences that I've had in different countries. I'm just going to start traveling even more. I've kind of gotten comfortable with certain places. Like I get comfortable with Colombia and I want to just go and hang out in Colombia all the time because I have friends there now, and it's a nice, comfortable trip for me. But I want to start venturing out and going to some other places too. I've been to Thailand, I've been to Costa Rica and Aruba and some other places already, but I need to get out and go to some other places. I've been to Paris. I want to go to Spain. I want to go to Italy. So there's some other places where I want to go, and you guys are going to join me because I'm going to be showing you guys videos and things like that, and then doing some live streams too when I'm there, because that's fun as well. But all right, no more questions. Final minute. You guys have no questions, and we'll go ahead and call it for the night. I really appreciate you guys being here. It's going to be a slow start. I know that already, but I think it was pretty successful for the first. I actually did another live stream that was probably last week, but it was one of those where I didn't set up anything. I just kind of just put it out there. But now I'm going to start on a regular basis doing the live streams and letting you guys know, giving you guys a notice. Usually it'll be about a day in advance. So make sure, if you're watching me right now and you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. The reason why you want to do that is because when I'm going live, I'll usually, let's say a day before I go live, I will put out a notice. Okay. So basically I will set up the live stream and the thumbnail will come out and you'll see that and it will say notify me. So if you want to be notified, you can just click on that button and it'll tell you when the live stream is going to be. Usually I like to do it. I'm kind of experimenting with this. Sometimes if it's like 24 hours before, that's might be too long. 10 hours is a little bit better because someone can see it and then they'll have time. But if it's like 24 hours, they'll see it. And the way I am is I'll see it and say, oh, he's doing a live stream tomorrow. And then I forget. And so then I miss the live stream. Unless you hit the notify me. If you hit the notify me, then it should notify you right before I go live. But so I'm experimenting with, should I wait maybe 10 hours, 8 hours before I go live, do that? Or should I actually do it like 24 hours in advance? So I'm going to try both to see which one is more, gets a better response. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys. Give me a couple of days. I'm probably going to do a live stream on Monday. Okay, so put that on your calendar in pencil for Monday. And we'll see about doing a live stream on Monday. Okay, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.